You're way too eager to use the amp on one another.
Oh? Your response tells me Masako must have given you similar advice. It'd be unlike her to not fully exploit an advantage, especially when she believes acquiring infinity is the right thing to do.
Why are you so against acquiring infinity?
The corporate world will hear SSNN's story and believe Ryujin exposed infinity because they stole from us. It sends a strong message. But acquiring infinity could be interpreted as a safety net. Infinity tried to screw us over, yet they still survived. We need to be sending a much stronger message. If you mess with Ryujin, we'll shut you down. Period.
Listen to reason, man. You know acquiring is the right choice.
Well, it does make Ryujin look good. And we do gain a wider customer base, which means higher profits. You're oddly right about this one, Op. I guess you are worth keeping around. As long as everyone has Ryujin's best interests in mind, this should make for an interesting meeting.
Yeah, with internal neuroram, best interest doesn't matter. It can guarantee success on its own.
I can only imagine the contracts that will be pouring in. We'd almost be literally in control of anything we wanted. Now, if you'll excuse me, I still have a lot of preparations to make.
If operations starts to bore you, let me know. You'd make a perfect lab rat for the R&D team. And how's my favorite patient doing? Not seeing any temporal memory flashes or losing time, I hope.
Are those actual side effects?
What? No, of course not. They're purely theoretical.
Feel great, no side effect as far as I can tell.
That's great. I'd say Project Dominion is ready for legitimate human trials in that case. One step closer to seeing market approval. Genevieve is going to be so excited. So, tell me what you think of the neuroamp.
This internal neuroamp changes everything, Mina. You're going to be famous.
I'd be the next Ray DeCaris, my childhood hero and mentor. How amazing would that be? DeMarcus, eat your heart out. Don't tell him I said that. He knows I love and respect him. So the next question is, what will the fate of Infinity Ltd be?
There's bound to be something inspiring for new in their research. Do you have any strong opinions about acquiring it?
I'd like to acquire them, although it won't break my heart if we don't. Faye may have stepped over a line in her attempt to replicate my work, but she's a brilliant engineer. I'm very curious to see what else she may have been working on and dig into her research.
Well, there's bound to be something inspiring or new in their research.
That's what I'm hoping for. They may be the underdog, but that doesn't mean they don't have a brilliant mind or two. Well, this has certainly been the most interesting conversation of my day. All we can do now is look forward to the meeting, right? See you in there.
I'm glad we're making an effort in our appearance today. Just the person I wanted to see. I want to get all the details locked down for this meeting, and I believe you to be one of the best sources available.
Good. I wanted to speak to you about the meeting as well.
An efficient exchange, then. You've had the chance to encounter members of Infinity Ltd throughout your assignments here. Do you think they're worth redemption? And why?
What makes you think I had enough contact with them to know?
You can tell a lot by just looking at a workspace or simply observing a person in their business environment. Perhaps I mistakenly assumed that as an operative here, observation was a talent of yours.
The majority of those workers are innocent. They didn't know what was going on. Oh, okay. Of course. Oh, wow. All these are terrible responses. Of course, if we can save thousands of jobs, we should do it.
Saving the jobs of thousands is altruistic,
All those
which
are
is
terrible
not a
responses,
luxury
game.
corporations have. It's a financial burden. It would be a huge undertaking on my part.
It sounds like you already made a decision. Why ask me?
Perhaps I wanted to see if I could be convinced otherwise. It's easy to say it's the right thing to do for someone in your position. But for me, Infinity Ltd is a huge financial unknown. It's high risk versus mediocre reward.
You have the opportunity to some good here, why not take it? Nah. We'd be getting employees on Infinity's cheaper salary numbers.
This is true. Infinity never had the financial resources to match our salary offers. Getting what few capable employees they have at half the salary we typically pay here could have major payoffs in the long run. Next question. What is your opinion on how Masako handled the mole situation?
I think it was handled well. It proved how capable Masako is at handling any situation.
And why do you feel it was well handled? Please note I'm not disagreeing. I just want to know the why behind your statement.
Masako and Dakin already had a plan in place to uncover the mole, and it worked.
Being prepared for anything is a great asset, one that Masako excels at. I appreciate the insight. I suppose I should ask if there's anything I can do for you, considering how helpful you've been.
What are your thoughts on the internal neuroamp?
It's the next big step for Ryujin Industries. Financially, it'll keep us secure for years to come. There's no doubt it's our future.
Nothing I can think of. See you at the meeting.
This has been rather enlightening for me. I appreciate the time.
Is Masako checking up on me to make sure I'm on her side?
Why would you think Masako sent me?
Because that's what I do. You want something in this business? You don't pull any punches. The only real question is just how persuasive she asked you to be.
I didn't realize we're taking sides.
In this business, there's always a side. And right now, I'm backing Masako. We just need to grab Infinity Ltd while it's got the public's full attention. I'm all about free PR, especially when it's painting us in a good light.
There must be a downside to acquiring LTDs. What is it?
The only downsides are the unknowns. Lyndon and Alexis are gonna have a lot on their hands. Not that I'm getting off easy. Whatever they find, if it hits the public, that's gonna fall on my shoulders too.
What's the benefits?
Infinity is that sad company in distress with thousands of employees terrified of their futures right now. We are the warm embrace of security coming to rescue them.
The rescue all the innocent will really look good for us.
I'm sure I can squeeze enough goodwill out of this to last us at least a year.
Is the public all you actually care about?
The consumer is our lifeblood, so capturing their wants and desires, of course it's all I care about. I'm sure I wouldn't be in this position today if it wasn't.
If you really want to keep Ryujin in the public good graces, there's one big thing to consider.
All right. I suppose you've earned the right to voice your opinion after everything you've done, qualified or not. So let's hear it.
Have you considered how powerful the internal neuroamp is?
Of course, which is why I know it requires some very delicate handling. But unlike Alexis, I believe we can get the proper restrictions and regulations in place to have a marketable product. We do it every day with weapons we arm ourselves and our ships with.
We should be exploring the internal NORAM every chance we get.
You're preaching to the choir. I have every intention of using it to our full advantage. In fact, I already have an entire marketing campaign in the works, and ready to pitch once it's officially approved. Well, it seems your talents really do stretch beyond just being an operative. Good talk. Maybe I'll even consult you on future endeavors.
If only there were more hours in the day. Great, the bane of my department. If you need something, make it quick.
How am I the bane of your department?
You don't recall our conversation after you were hired? Any legal troubles you cause are my troubles? Steer clear of law enforcement? You've been very busy, and therefore I've been very busy.
I heard you're not a fan. Masako would really appreciate it if you could back her on acquiring Infinity Ltd.
Not much to discuss there. I believe I've made my case quite clear to Masako on why I am against it.
Why don't you want to acquire Infinity?
I can guarantee that Infinity Ltd was up to more than just the current charges. The process of finding and following up on all those threads won't be easy. I refuse to be blindsided by another corporation's past, so this is going to take a lot of time and patience.
Legal issues aside, the pros of acquiring Infinity Ltd far outweighs the cons.
All right, I could use the entertainment. Tell me why Infinity is a good asset.
If anyone can navigate the loopholes and ease minds during the acquisition, to be you.
A certain amount of confidence during the negotiations would go a long way in this situation.
The business benefit far outweighs the legal issues, and the credits are king.
When it comes to profit, I suppose all my arguments do fall short. Huh. Well, what do you know? I think you just convinced me. Talent like yours belongs in the courtroom.
Have you been preparing for having internal NORAM on the open market?
Unfortunately, half my department's been poring over documentation, while the other half is writing up what legal guidance they can.
The internal NORAM would make handling any situation a breeze.
Are you trying to add to my stress right now? First off, if I find out you used that device on me, I will tie you up in court on whatever charges I can conjure for the rest of your life. Second, that tech is one major human rights violation that no legal team wants to fight. I'll do whatever I can to make sure it's either severely delayed or collects dust in storage.
If we didn't have to worry about people abusing it, the possibilities would be phenomenal.
Why dislike the NeuroAmp versus regular NeuroAmp?
Because the external neuroamps are built to help the user on a personal level.
That's true.
They aid in reason, communication, confidence, all things that can make the difference in a person's self-image. And yes, they can be abused, but that's why there are laws regarding improper usage.
Is there anything positive you can think about the internal NeuroAmp?
Tech like this only has good applications when you have complete control over who uses it. Once that tech hits a market, open or private, that control is gone. And not only that, the tech is out there to be advanced or modified by anyone who might get their hands on it.
With proper legal guidance, the application for the internal NeuroAmp are endless.
In an ideal situation, yes. And I suppose creating that ideal situation is within my power. Now you've made it sound like a proper challenge that I can't help but accept. Masako's lucky to have you at her disposal, even if you are a continual thorn in my side. You may be the greatest asset, aside from the internal neuroamp, that Ryujin has. This exchange has been surprisingly insightful, but now I really do need to get back to my notes.
This meeting should prove to be very interesting. I assume Masako briefed you on her preferred outcome.
Yes, but I refuse to use an internal neuroamp to ensure votes acquired for Infinity Ltd.
Good on you.
It's such a shame. The technology, if used by decent people, could lead to so much good. But the harm it can do in the wrong hands is beyond terrifying.
If it were up to me, I'd have shut down Project Dominion a long time ago. I knew it was a grave security risk, and look what happened.
Don't tell me you actually disagree with Masako on something.
It's not often, but yes. And I'm not the only board member that initially voted against moving forward with the research.
You were against Project Dominion from the start?
Completely. I understand the success it can bring for the corporation, but my only concern here is security. It's not that the board majority fails to see the dangers. It's that they believe we can overcome them. That hubris could easily bring this corporation down one day. I only hope it won't be on my watch.
Project Dominion is essential to future success. It has risks, but nothing you can't handle.
I suppose you're right. As long as I'm fully aware of the risks, I can properly account for them. My first priority will be to get the board and all security members set up with shielding as soon as possible. Plus, if we vote to acquire Infinity Ltd., we're about to add a significant workload onto my team. The last thing I want to deal with are any more incidents this new neuroamp might cause.
The acquisition is worth the work. I know the team can handle it.
I imagine we're looking at months of work. Infinity Ltd. is obviously not known for their security. I only hope that Masako and the others will be patient with the process. Now, if you excuse me, I have some preparations to make. We'll be announcing Ularu's termination of employment at this meeting, so I need to have security ready to escort her off the premises.
Dude, I love that I lied to him and then immediately use a neuroamp on him. I'm glad it didn't lock out the option. Barrett, you want to go sit down?
All right, everyone. As you all know, we've successfully exposed Infinity Ltd's botched human trials and murder for hire through SSNN. The public is demanding their leadership, namely Lucas Drexler, face trial, and he's probably writing his resignation as we speak. Ryujin will be launching a statement, but I believe now is the perfect time to acquire Infinity Ltd.
The announcement would garner public faith in Ryujin.
Believe it or not, I agree. The acquisition has risks, and it's going to create a lot of work for all of us. But the overall payoff will be worth it.
That and Infinity Ltd's current situation makes them more affordable than ever.
Arguments? None? Excellent. Moving on, then.
I think what we're all overlooking is what led us to this situation to begin with. Yes, our security was compromised. But considering Dalton was hired by Masako, the issue obviously starts at the top. In fact, I propose that Masako be removed from CEO altogether.
Ularu, this isn't a line you want to cross.
And considering you're the mole, if anyone's going to be removed from power, it's going to be you.
Hold up. Are you saying you lied to us?
Dalton, the last meeting we had, you distinctly said Imogene was the mole, and she'd been dealt with.
We only lied about Imogen, so Ularu would incriminate herself.
Do you even have any proof to back up this outrageous claim?
Of course we do. The malicious code you hid on this slate to upload incriminating evidence against Masako onto Lucas Drexler's computer.
To put it bluntly, Ularu, you're fired. Security will hold you in your office until a proper exit interview can be done.
This isn't right. I should at least have the opportunity to resign.
And allow you to still be marketable to a competitor? I don't think so. This may be news to me, and I will be reviewing the evidence closely. But this isn't something you just get to walk away from.
Enjoy the unemployment.
I'm losing patience.
Security, escort Miss Chen to her office and see that she stays put.
You'll regret this. All of you.
I believe the only regret would be trusting you to begin with.
All right, back to business. All in favor of acquiring Infinity Ltd?
Aye.
Good. Alexis, start drawing up the necessary documentation. Anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up? If there's nothing else, this meeting is concluded. I'll be following up with a few of you shortly.
So much work to do.
Hey, stranger. Let's chat sometime, okay?
I'm glad we're making an
So,
effort in our
Infinity Ltd learned a lesson the hard way, and we exposed the traitor among us. You've proven yourself to be quite the asset here at Ryujin.
I hope that means I'll be getting a raise.
Lyndon and I already had that conversation, and yes, you will be getting an increase in wages from now on. I truly appreciate the work you put into exposing Ularu. No operative has ever had to investigate our own to the extent that you did. I can imagine it may have been a lot of pressure, considering you were fairly new at the time.
This is the right time to ask for a raise, right?
I just did. How often does Ryujin have someone turn against their company?
Not often, and certainly not to this degree. We have the occasional employee consider selling information, but thanks to our security and operations teams, we always catch them before any damage can be done. This was the first time anyone from either department was involved.
No pressure at all. These are the jobs I live for.
I hope that enthusiasm sticks with you for the foreseeable future. Imogene's instincts were right about you. Now, as promised, I have your bonus. I hope you'll find it appropriate for all you've done. And I'm promoting you to senior operative.
Yes.
You've more than earned it.
Thank you.
It's well deserved. As for the details, I think someone back on the operations floor would prefer to explain those to you.
Let's talk. you have time, of course. You know, traveling with you has been more than just good old-fashioned fun. It's been, well, therapeutic.
Was this really weighing on your mind so much?
I know. It didn't seem like it, right? Well, I was hiding it from everyone, including myself. I can see now how much it was affecting me. I know now that clearing Irvin's name would set me free from the grief.
How has it been therapeutic for you?
Well, I buried my pain about Irvin for so long that I needed a nudge and a different perspective.
You don't get that sort of feedback every day.
Well, just ask. Anyway, thanks for the support, Captain.
Weren't you adventuring with Vasco for a while?
Yeah, of course. Vasco is a fantastic co-pilot. He doesn't sleep, he reacts quickly. He's a fascinating friend.
We make a great team, Barrett.
That's just a fact. Which brings me back to that plan I mentioned earlier. I think I know how to move forward now. But I'm going to need your help. My contact sent a gift.
Were they detected?
Nope. They were confident about not being detected, but not like too confident.
Your Cyberrunner contact?
Yep, my friend from Neon, who has helped me out more times than I deserve.
Tell me they found some real evidence.
Seems real to me. So they found an insurance settlement. Irvin's employers got paid as compensation for sabotage.
How much money were you talking about?
Now, they claimed they had to ditch the whole mine and all the equipment inside and construct a new mine with new equipment. They were reimbursed for all of it.
Insurance seems pretty standard in cases like this. Sounds fishy.
It seems that the mining company got a huge payout after they won the case against Irvin. We have the settlement paperwork from their insurance. Tons of money. Oh, also the Cyberrunner had to move on to other work, but sent me a passcode to some computer system. I'm not sure what it goes to yet. We can just hold on to it until we figure it out. But anyway, we have enough to move forward. The missing piece here is proving that Irvin was framed. So I discovered that Irvin's original lawyer still practices law, and she'll look over everything we found.
What's her reason for helping?
Irvin's case was her first case, she said. She always hated how it ended. And she's now got 2 decades of experience behind her for a rematch, too.
Can we trust her?
Yes, I believe so. Every case she's worked on has been in the interest of regular, everyday people. She doesn't seem to be in this for the money. I mean, heck, she said she wouldn't even charge us. For the initial consultation, anyway.
Let's go talk to this lawyer then.
Oh, detective. I like the sound of that. If I'm the detective, does that make you my trustworthy and sensible partner with a heart of gold?
What are you talking about?
I swear it was a cliche in old detective novels. You have the hard-boiled detective who's seen it all, and the optimistic assistant who wants to save the world.
Oh, no, definitely not.
We're more of the explorer type anyway, right? We don't need titles. Anyway, we should take everything to the lawyer and see what she says. Maybe she reviews it and decides we have no case, or we need more evidence. I don't know. If we don't have a case, I can probably let it go. But I have to try.
Do you ever hear more about Irvin's department?
Oh, yep. I've got a key card for it. But I don't know what condition it's in. It's been 20 years, but I got the ventilation and power turned on, so I think it's safe.
Can we send her all the evidence?
Yes, I've already arranged for my contact to drop off the evidence at our office.
Let's go talk to that lawyer then, Barrett.
Fantastic. I knew I could count on you. You're as reliable as an atomic clock. I've sent a list of everything we've found so far to the lawyer on Gagarin. You know, I actually feel optimistic about this. Lead the way, Captain.
You've certainly shaken things up around here. I still can't believe Ularu tried to frame me. An obvious misjudgment on my part. But now that's all in the past. It's time to get back to your typical day-to-day.
Really? Right back to work?
Of course. If you think anyone here believes in downtime, forget it.
It's good to see you back in the office, Imogen.
And I'd say it's good to be back if I hadn't returned to a mountain of paperwork. Now, since you were new, you've been dealing with people, but most of our assignments are generated on the mission board. The board holds any available assignments that our techs have pieced together, and I've approved. Questions?
What kind of assignments are these?
Nothing you aren't already familiar with. You experienced the majority of what we do here during your training, if you recall. Uploading a few files, manipulating a narrative or two, obtaining schematics, it's just more of the same.
What's a mission board?
Well, after this conversation, you can head up to your office and see for yourself. Just think of it as a computer that lets you pick and choose your assignments at will, rather than having to deal with me all the time.
So I don't get to deal with you anymore?
No, but try to see that as an improvement, since I certainly do. The mission board is more efficient for both of us.
None. I'm good.
Good. The mission board is generally self-explanatory anyway. With your promotion, you've earned yourself an office, so whenever you're ready, you can find your own personal mission board inside. And the best perk of them all, you're free to make your own hours. Oh, and congratulations, of course.
Can I access the mission board outside of Ryujin Towers?
No, only within the tower. The security risk would be far too much to allow access to that data in a public space.
I'm still going to run this place someday.
At this point, I wouldn't doubt it. Go check out the board, and if you have any questions, I suppose I can start up an open door policy. Just for you. Need something?
What if I don't want these missions on the mission board?
If you don't want to earn credits, that's up to you. But I can understand how lackluster they may seem after what you've pulled off.
What is it like being back to work?
It's a relief. I'll take my desk job over being on the run any day. I was lucky enough to have plenty of connections and favors to abuse in my situation. We'll see how many of those favors come back to haunt me later.
My own freaking office. Hack the trade tower? Plant evidence? Sabotage Hope Tech? Well, those are just normal activities. Laredo's firearms again? I already plant something there. You want to do it again? Okay. Wow. Game. Come on. Dang it. You know, let's do Barrett's quest line. Yeah, let's finish up his quest line so I can get Andrea's quest line started. That was actually pretty fun for Ryujin's quest line.
I hope Ellie is still taking names and holding people accountable around here.
Need some work done? Lost? Tricks the catwalks, just keep turning right. You'll get where you're going eventually.
Oh, there we go.
I was just thinking that this is about what Irvin saw all those years ago when he arrived. He probably stood here thinking that he was going to make things better. He had a good heart.
What do we do now?
We need to reopen the case. See if there's anything that was overlooked the first time. We've done some legwork remotely, but we need to do some good old-fashioned investigating now. Hopefully it will be enough to clear Irvin's name.
We're going to take care of it, Barrett.
Oh, you remind me of him sometimes. Wanting to make things right. And when you said it out loud, you know, I actually believe we can do it. I just hope our lawyer is as confident.
Didn't this lawyer lose the case?
Yes, but listen. Nobody will stand up against the mining corporations around here. They're scared. She didn't want to lose the case, but she didn't have a lot to go on. Thanks to us, now she does.
Did you bring everything we need?
I sent that to our lawyer already. I asked her to confidentially review what we found.
What can you tell me about this lawyer?
Ellie Yankton. She worked on Irvin's previous case. Ellie is one of the few lawyers on this planet who's willing to take on the mining corporations in court.
Okay, let's go.
Right. She said she would meet us at our office when we arrive. Hopefully she can tell us what we need to do in order to clear Irvin's name. Let's stick together, though. Gagarin isn't a huge town, but it's not the kind of town that I want to get lost in.
I'm gonna become a famous bounty hunter, just like the Mantis.
Well, well, well. Barrett, you're actually here. Astounding.
Ellie! Ellie, come on. I promised we'd stop by, didn't I?
People make promises all the time, Barrett. And most folks try to avoid Gagarin, not visit it. Anyway, I'm glad you made it out here. We have work to do, don't we?
Have there been other cases like this?
Not exactly, but similar cases. A corporation commits a crime and needs a scapegoat, so they select someone powerless to target.
The quintessential Gagarin tale.
Indeed.
You handled Irvin case years ago?
Yes. It was my first case as a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer.
Well, starting your career with a defeat is rough, Ellie.
It was. But in a way, it made me more determined.
What do you mean about people avoiding Gagarin?
It's not a resort. It's a working town run by mining corporations. You don't come here unless you need to, and you don't stay unless you have to.
Or unless you're a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer who genuinely wants to make things better for others. Right, Ellie?
You're kind, Barrett. Yes, I suppose there's that type of person as well.
Let's discuss Irvin's case.
Down to business. Perfect. What do you already know?
So we already know that Irvin worked for Hephaestus Mining Company years ago, and they blamed him for catastrophic economic and ecological issues here on Gagarin.
Yes. He lost his case because he didn't defend himself, and we had almost no evidence without him.
What was the judgment?
He was publicly blamed for the economic woes, and his accounts were seized in compensation.
His account on Gagarin specifically. It was just the amount he was paid years ago for the job.
Right. They would have taken his assets and other settlements, but by law, his death prevented it.
Why didn't Irvin defend himself?
I recall receiving a message asking him to appear in court a day after his funeral.
An unfortunate reality of interplanetary legal communiques, I'm afraid.
We need to clear Irvin's name.
Well, we can bring the case to a judge here if we have new evidence or a witness.
What about the evidence we found so far?
Yes, well, about that. It's just not enough.
What happened if we take the case to court with more evidence?
Best case scenario, we clear his name and his assets are returned, plus additional compensation.
Nothing we found is good enough?
Not on its own, no. It's circumstantial. Helpful to support our claim, but not enough.
We can find more.
In order for me to go before a judge, I'd like to have some solid evidence pertaining to motive.
Why do we need to establish motive?
The courts won't entertain a challenge to its ruling unless we're sure that something major was missed in the original trial.
What was the motive from the original trial?
We had no solid motive after our witness withdrew his testimony.
We don't have any other evidence?
Yeah, we need something major. Documentation, recordings, a witness, something.
It's been so long. How could we find anything like that?
I've thought about this a lot since the original case. The mine that Irvin worked at was shuttered in 2309. They probably still have documents relating to whatever happened there with him.
Wouldn't Hephaestus destroy incriminating documents?
Not necessarily. To Hephaestus, it might be cheaper to run away and let the dust bury it all.
Do you know which mine Irvin worked at?
Not really. All I know is that it's a Hephaestus mine from 20 years ago, somewhere on Gagarin.
I don't have a couple decades to wait for you to search them all, so we'll need to narrow it down.
Point us to the mine where Irvin was assigned to work, please.
That's where you come in. I don't know which mine he worked at when the incident took place. In theory, you could find that information on a Foundry terminal, if you can access it. You'll need a passcode. That's the hard part. Besides the Foundry records, there also might be something in Irvin's apartment. If he knew he was being framed, he might have held on to some documents there.
Hmm. Mining company used to leave a lot behind when they shuttered the mine.
Even the confidential records and salvageable equipment? Seems wasteful.
It was probably cheaper than transporting older machines around the planet.
Makes sense. Not many people wander around outside of the city looking for abandoned mines.
Why lock your door when you're the only person on the planet, right? Anyway, try to log into the Foundry system or convince someone to find Irvin's mine for you.
Sounds like an awkward conversation. Fortunately, the captain is rather good at those.
Hopefully, that's enough to work with for now. If you'll excuse me, I have to get some court documents ready for this case.
The Foundry district isn't too far from here. After you, Captain. Now I get why he wanted me to look after his plans. No windows, insufficient power for proper lamps. You're done? Impressive. Wait a second. What about the safe? That is locked. Well, I'll be. If you ever doubted Irvin's genius, look at all this. Still chugging along 20 years later. Hold on. Is that what I think it is? Aha! Will you look at that? If we go to Town Hall, I bet we can get a copy of that hunting license. Is that Irvin's employment contract? Let me see. No idea where mine H363 is, but we could search for it at the Foundry database. All right, we've got some solid leads, it looks like. The employment contract and the hunting license at Town Hall.
We need more.
The more the merrier. Unless you're Hephaestus. It was a bit strange going through Irvin's old things, though. I was hoping for some old pictures, but nothing. What's that you have there? A plant?
Did Irvin say what it was for?
No, but I did find a few slates that might give us a clue. As well as a reminder to finish a physics paper that I never did.
You mentioned before Irvin brought a plant on trips with you.
Yes, and it was always a remarkable species with an even more remarkable story. I wonder if the same is true for this guy.
How's it still alive?
Witchcraft, probably. But if you want a more scientific explanation, I have a couple of theories. It could go through states of hibernation, or draw moisture from the air the way epiphytic plants do. There's also that habitat dish Irvin set up for it, which gave it light and nutrients. Still, I'm not ruling out witchcraft.
What's the story behind this plant?
I'm not sure. It might not even be a plant. It might technically be a fungus. But there's probably a reason why Irvin tried his best to keep it alive. When we get back home, I'll go through some of his research notes. It might tell us something more about this plant. Hopefully it's not poisonous.
I don't think that's going to be helping this case.
No, maybe not. But it helps me. Irvin was the last person to handle this plant. It mattered to him. No matter how the case goes, this warms my heart. I didn't expect to find it, but I love that I did. In any event, I'll go through Irvin's notes in more detail later. There's probably a flowchart somewhere with this little guy's name on it. Oh, on that note, we should give it a name. I'm thinking something simple yet refined. What do you think of Harvey?
Not a fan.
Really? Well, why don't we try it for a few days, and if we don't like it, we can workshop it later. Okay, the three of us should get back to it. You, me, and Harvey have a case to solve.
Oh boy. Of Ra'un Star Shard.
Man, could I use a vacation?
I heard there's a bunch of old...
That right there. Did you get it? They probably never intended for these walkways to last this long. You ever read about the early history of spaceflight? It's so good. So familiar.
That's not the Foundry District.
Smells like the Centauri Mills plant is making it. I wonder if there are any mining jobs on Mars.
If you're looking for trade in a little bit of it,
I could put
might not be the...
dust. Well, different dust.
If you have any problems, you should talk to Chief Pretorius.
Rough day, right? Someone paid... Some choice word?
the front of the Ark?
What?
My factory the other day.
Look at you. So clean. First day? I don't have any money to give you. I'm sorry.
Coordinates look valid to me. Imagine Irvin thinking the same thing all those years ago. Just a job, right? Well, at least we know where to keep looking, right?
We should hire somebody to go there for us, right?
This is what we do. We're explorers, adventurers. But yeah, other than that, it's my fight. I don't want to get anyone else involved.
Okay, what we're looking for.
Essentially any documentation that screams, Irvin isn't guilty, we made it up.
Let's go.
I guess we'll see what state the mine is in. It's possible they collapsed it before they left. We just won't know until we get there. If that's the case, we'll just have to figure something out.
Can this wait? Pretty busy trying to relax here.
But I got the passcode. Did I get discovered? So weird.
Careful. This place was shuttered 20 years ago.
Jesus. What disgusting creatures. Urban Eagle.